My name is John Mollison, and I'm a military artist and historian. What I do is I draw stuff like this. This is a World War II fighter plane called a P-51 Mustang. If you look underneath the nose here, you'll see a signature. That signature belongs to Earl Depner. He was the guy who flew this airplane in Europe in 1944. As a history geek, I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to talk to people like Earl who have been a part of our planet's greatest moments. They've been a part of making the history that continues to define all of our existence today. Well, earlier this year, I was approached by a veteran who commissioned me to do his piece in world history. He didn't drive a tank, he didn't float on a ship, he didn't fly an airplane, and he never fired a gun in anger. Instead, what he did was he sat at a desk and he awaited orders to essentially wipe humankind off the face of the map. He was a missileer, and he wanted me to draw his military equipment. And it's this. It's an LGM-3G Minuteman missile. This missile was in silos all across the United States, and it was manned by men and women who sat in small offices 60 to 100 feet down in the ground, and their job was simply to wait for the orders to turn keys. I remember when I was a little kid, I was probably the last generation who ever knew what it was like to hear the civil defense siren go off and get underneath a desk. And I remember seeing some vague poster or a pamphlet or something to that effect that described what would happen if we had a flash, the nuclear flash, and we weren't supposed to look at it. And I think about it in hindsight, and it's kind of comical because my burned out retinas would have been the last, or would have been just the beginning of many, many troubles had we actually had a nuclear war. Today, I don't think anybody thinks about nuclear war anymore. And it's remarkable that we once had the shadow of potential destruction, and now that shadow has all but evaporated, or so it seems. And so I asked the gentleman who commissioned that Minuteman III missile, I asked him the question, and I said, look, could you have done it? Could you have turned the key to set the missile sending off into space towards its prearranged target somewhere in Russia? I don't know where it would have been. And he said, absolutely. And I was stunned by that. But before I could comment, he kind of detected my, taken aback by that. And he said, let me explain to you what the deterrent was. He said, the deterrent wasn't the missile. It wasn't even the megatons inside the nose cone. The deterrent to nuclear war was me. My willingness to absolutely, without doubt and without question, turn keys upon the order. And then he explained this. And we all knew that our Russian counterparts would do the exact same thing. The military deterrent was the fact that they would. If you're like me, this story is new. And it's interesting to know how thin and how personal the barrier between peace and nuclear winter is. What my proposition here on RocketHub which, by the way, the irony isn't lost on me, is to raise the funds to allow me to draw the 8 ICBM missiles that once manned our missile defense system, and interview the missileers, the men and women who were down in those bunkers, ready for the strange and terrible order to launch. The funds used will go to researching, making sure that the artwork that I do is absolutely accurate, to reaching out to missileers of all generations, the Atlas missiles, the Titan, Minuteman, all 3 Minutemans, the Peacekeeper, and even submarine launch missiles. I'll do as many as I can, at least 8, possibly 9. And your funding will help make sure that this incredible story of the human experience, as a sidebar, we are the only creation, the only animal, the only life on Earth with the capability of truly destroying itself, that this incredible story gets recorded. I know something about history. History creates the reality we have today. I believe very much that the more we learn about history, the better decisions we can make today. And the better decisions we make today, the more we can control a better fate for ourselves tomorrow. Please consider partnering with me as I go into the story of the missileers, the warriors that didn't. Thank you.